said, I will not believe you, nor would I be happy with this excuse until you walk and spit at the face of Muhammad ibn Abd. When I see you beyond the outskirts of Mecca, I will kill you. There was, we mentioned basically two situations that took place which were known to be on the hands of Ubay, on the hands of who? Who said? Uqba ibn Abi Mu'ayt. Uqba ibn Abi Mu'ayt. Okay? The story about Uqba is interesting. He became the enemy of Allah. He became the enemy of Allah and the enemy of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But at one stage, his heart almost accepted Islam. Okay, and from this we understand why he became so vile towards the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's all because of his best friend, Ubay ibn Khalaf, or Ubay ibn Khalaf, were best friends, and they became, as well, the Qawis, who are known to be the two most vile, most abhorrent enemies of Allah and His Rasul, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Uqba, when he used to have a habitual habit, he was as well known to be very generous. Okay? So whenever he'll come back from a travel, he will invite his close friends, his families, the people of Mecca to come and be part of the gathering of the feast. He will slaughter animals and he will invite people to sit with him and take part in the feast, in food. That was his habit every time he come back from travel. When he came back from travel, that travel that he came back from, which he invited the people once again to come and have a feast with him, to join him in this rejoiceful gathering that he came back home safely and so forth. He used to always invite Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He did not stop. But he said, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, you will honor me with your presence if you come and join us in this feast. And at that time, Sayyidina Muhammad has become a prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So at that time, he has not become vicious to Sayyidina Muhammad. He did not have any hatred just yet. Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Ya Uqba, I will only accept your invitation and sit in your gathering if you bear witness to the oneness of Allah. If you say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, you will find me in your gathering. فعقبة, this as well is showing the love that he had for Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The love was still there. He said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. The Prophet then sat and ate with him. When this event, the news of this event reached his best friend, who is Ubay ibn Khalaf. Best friend, and they say, as-sahib sahib, that a friend drags you wherever he goes. Okay, wherever your best friend goes, you will go with him, regardless where he goes, and regardless what religion he follows. That's what the Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Be careful who you take as a best friend, because you are on the religion of your best friend. We have to even be careful how we befriend, how we choose our friends. Must choose them very carefully. فهي said, يا عقبة أو عقبة, news has reached me يعني أنك سبوت, يعني you have become a Sabian. Sabian is a religion which does not acknowledge the idols as lords, basically. Okay? But he said, as if you have left, it seems to me that you have left the religion of idol worship and you have followed the way of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. For what you have done is a vile thing. Now Uqba has been intimidated. Uqba has been intimidated by his friend. Peer pressure. Basically, what's wrong with you? Aren't you a man? Aren't you man enough to say no? Who cares, basically, if he doesn't eat with you? But now he's saying that as long as you're Muslim, I can't be with you. But they grew up together. So Uqba saying a testification of faith, maybe out of love for the Prophet ﷺ, but it wasn't enough just yet to be a strength for him to reject the intimidation of Ubay bin Khalaf. He said, oh friend, I did not do this only because I want this company. I didn't really convert to Islam. He said, I will not believe you, nor would I be happy with this excuse until you walk and spit at the face of Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and you step on his neck. Allahu Akbar. And most of us are firing up, and I wish I was there, would have slaughtered them both. But he agreed. He goes, okay, no problem. And Uqba was known to be a very, and he had OCD. What do they call OCD? What's the OCD? When someone has مقرف, he's got cleaning disorder, and if he sees a dust on his clothes, what's that? What do they call that? Germaphobe or OCD. Okay, but what's the O stand for? Obsessive cleaning disorder. Okay, so he had that. Just to keep that in mind for the next event. How vile he became because of his friend. So be careful, you be friend. For once Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was doing tawaf around the Kaaba al-Sharifa by himself. As he was doing tawaf, Uqba came and had the audacity to spit at the face or towards the face of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ignored him for now. And the Prophet faced towards the Kaaba in obedience to Allah, and he began his salah, his prayer. Uqba is watching, Ubay is laughing. Egging on Uqba. Come on, don't forget the other one. You have to step on his neck. Don't forget the other one. You have to step on his neck. Allahu Akbar. Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam reached the position of prostration, prostrating to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then, lo and behold, Uqba manifested, he's there. And he put his cursed foot on the neck of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And they're laughing. And Uqba Uqba and Ubay began to laugh. And it was said some of the leaders of the enemies of Islam as well, leaders of Quraysh. Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, unfazed, finished the worship of Allah in that salah. He got up and he looked at Uqba and he said, Ya Uqba, when I see you beyond the outskirts of Makkah, I will kill you. I will kill you. فعقبة now is starting to get nervous because they know when Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam speaks a word, when he makes a promise, it will come true. Because they never knew Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam except as a trustworthy person, a truthful person, a man who does not go back on his promises. When Uqba heard this, now he became reluctant for a while. But a few days went past. Then Ubay started to push him again. And then he said, I'm still not satisfied. I am still not satisfied with what you have done to prove to me that you have not left the worship of idols, the religion of your forefathers. They said, choke him if he dare. Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam as well as he was praying, when he was in a sitting posture. And Allah knows best. Uqba took his scarf off and wrapped it around the neck and started to choke Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He would choke and will not release. And Sayyidina Muhammad is still unfazed sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And then Sayyidina Abu Bakr, the lion of Islam, marches forward like a roaring lion, grabs Uqba by the shoulders and throws him forcefully on the ground with so much force that Uqba was wounded. But there was too many enemies with Uqba, young, strong men of Quraysh. So they attacked Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq as if one man is attacking. But before they attacked him, after Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq threw the enemy of Allah on the ground, trying to protect Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, أَتَقْتُلُونَ رَجُلًا يقول ربي الله وجاءكم بالبينات والهدى. You want to kill a man who all he's saying, all he's proclaiming is that his Lord is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he came to you with clear guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is this the reason why you want to kill him? And then he was attacked by a mob of men of Quraysh. And they beat him so severe. They would kick him at the same time as someone is hitting him on the face with a wooden sole sandal. To the point that Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq became unconscious. That they had to carry him home and he was unconscious. Radiallahu anhu. And then after a day, when he came to, he regained his consciousness. The first thing he said, how is my beloved Muhammad? How is the health and the safety of my beloved? Is he safe? Is he okay? First thing he said, Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Bi Abi, Anta wa Ummi ya Rasulullah. And they said, I sacrificed my father and my mother for your safety, Ya Rasulullah. They meant it. They meant it. Another event took place on the hands of Uqbah ibn Abi Mu'ayt. And we said that he had what condition? OCD. Mahak? What is it? What? Obsessive cleaning disorder. But he was so vile that he accepted the dare from the people of Quraysh once more. That who will go to the area where we chuck the carcass of our slaughter and bring the entrails of that carcass and place it on the back of Muhammad as he's prostrated to his God. Once again, OCD, germophobic, مقرف. But he put that all aside just to manifest this vile, satanic action and hatred towards Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So satanic, so devilish, so much hatred, not for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but for the message that the Prophet came with sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he went and he came back holding these heavy intestines of a camel, stinking, a stench which will make you vomit. And he's carrying it on his expensive silk cloak and clothes, and not caring what the feces are coming on him, the feces of the intestines, just to manifest his vile action in there. And he threw it, قذفها. He threw it. So how much pressure would that have been on the back of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? As intestines are no less than 20, 30 kilos. 20, 30 kilos, probably more if it's camel's intestines, stomach. And the Prophet again was unfazed. But he was in prostration for so long, making dua to Allah, glorifying Allah, that it was enough time for the message to reach the house of Sayyidina Khadija al-Kubra, the wife of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And who heard the news? Sayyidina Fatima Zahra, the daughter of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, a young, not even 10 years old at that time, running to the aid of her father. And she pushed off the entrails off the back of her beloved father. And Sayyidina Muhammad got up, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, finished salat. And he's seeing his beloved daughter crying. And she's cursing the one who done this to her father, cursing the one who put this filth on the back of her father. Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam took her by the hand and he walked with her home. As he's walking, he said, Ya Fatima, oh my daughter, don't be saddened. The one who's protecting your father is Allah. And don't worry, whether they like it or not, the name of your father, the message that he was sent with, will enter every single household on planet Earth. From now to Yawm al-Qiyamah, eventually Muhammad and Rasulullah will enter into the houses of mankind, regardless if they're clay huts, skin tents, woolly tents, castles. The message of your father and his name will enter those houses and places around the world, entering their homes whether they like it or not. And whoever will accept, and whoever will deny. But your father's mission will be complete and blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For time came for Uhud, time came for Badr. First Holy War. And when the people of Quraysh were gathering their men, arming up, Uqba ibn Mu'ayt, Uqba ibn Abi Mu'ayt now began to remember the promise, the threat of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. I will kill you once we reach the outskirts of Mecca. Or if I see you on the outskirts of Mecca, I will kill you. But he made so much excuses not to go to the Battle of Badr. To the point they said, why not? And Ubay was one of them. They said, oh, is it because of the threat of Muhammad ibn Abdullah? I said, yes. And I have not seen any promise go unfulfilled of the Prophet of Muhammad ibn Abdullah. He said, look. Ya Uqba, just go. I will buy you the fastest camel and the fastest horse. And if for some reason, and they didn't believe they're going to lose. For some reason, if we lose, you can jump on this fast horse or fast camel and make your way back to Mecca. And I'll be with you. Time came, Ubay fled. And who was caught as a prisoner of war? Uqba. And Uqba was put to death by the order of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam on the hand of one companion. And we'll leave it at that. Maybe we'll mention once we get to the Battle of Badr, we'll mention it because it's in that part of